What were your thoughts on that Defensive Player of the Year race?
The Defensive Player of the Year race is summed up by who will actually win the award, aka who the media is comfortable voting for, versus who deserves to win. Okay. So you got who will win versus who deserves to. Currently, Rudy Gobert is the front runner for DPOY, averaging 13 rebounds a game, which is second in the NBA, 2.1 blocks, a half a steal, and a defensive rating of 104. Right? All very honorable statistics for a DPOY candidate, for a DPOY frontrunner. This is more of the same that we see from Rudy, right? We've seen this before. He's already won the award 3 times in the past. And the biggest reason why he's going to win the award is because his team is having a successful year. Minnesota is currently the best defensive team in the NBA. If you want to know a little bit more about that discussion, check out our previous video on Minnesota. And they're currently third place in the West, right? They are overachieving compared to where most people thought they would be coming into this season. I believe that's fair to say. Now, I think the player that deserves to win is Victor Wembanyama. I know they're the worst team in the NBA. I know they're actively tanking. I know this, that. I know that he's a rookie. I know all of those things. And I know that the media is not going to vote for him because they don't have the cojones. They don't have the huevos. They don't have the balls. But this guy is putting up numbers that a my player in 2K does during your my career. Okay. 3.5 blocks a game, 1.3 steals a game, and a 107 defensive rating, higher than Rudy's. Okay. This guy is the best defender in the NBA, and he's only 19 years old. And I think the award should go to the best defender. Whether or not his team is actively sabotaging his season should be besides the point. So, if you're asking me who the media is going to vote for, put your money on Rudy Gobert. If you're asking me who I think should actually win the award, give me the dude who's putting up video game numbers and makes it look and is the best defender I've actually ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, to be fair to your argument, I remember seeing a lot this year. Because the biggest reason why Rudy is most likely going to win Defensive Player of the Year is because he's the best defensive player on the best defensive team, and the type of impact he has on that team in terms of on and off numbers and all that is crazy. But Victor Wembanyama, literally, the Spurs are the best defensive team in the NBA when he's on the court, and they are one of the worst. I think it's 25th when he's off the court. And so that right there is a big indicator of what type of defender Wemby is, to literally make the Spurs good at defense just by being on the court. I mean, he takes everything to a whole nother level. Like this, if you're talking about in the next few years here, we might end up seeing a type of defensive impact that has never been seen before. And we talk about guys like Rudy Gobert, old Dwight Howard with the Magic is, if you have him, you're guaranteed to have a top 10 defense no matter who's on your team. Basically, with Victor, it may end up being, in the future, if they just start getting a better team, that you're guaranteed to have a top 5 defense, with this guy, just because he can cover so much that other people just can't, just because of his size and athleticism. No one else can just match that physically, and he's clearly a smart dude. So as crazy as it sounds, I do think there is an argument for Victor to win Defensive Player of the Year. The biggest problem with me is I don't want to reward the Spurs. Nothing against Victor. I don't want to reward the Spurs for tanking. And that's why I would want to give it to at least a better team. Because like Rudy is still having a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season, but I just don't think like it's just the Spurs are trying to lose, man. Like,
Yeah, I know.
I know it's an individual award, but have we ever seen like a really bad team win an individual award besides a Rookie of the Year? I can't really think of
No.
any.
No, I mean, team success plays a huge role in every single one of these awards, whether it be MVP, sixth man, coach of the year, all NBA teams. Even though last year we had a couple of teams and players that didn't even make the playoffs make all NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate the fact that Rudy Gobert is going to win another defensive player of the year, even though his defense, his defensive issues are glaring when it comes postseason time. I mean, I'm a Utah Jazz fan, right? I was there for peak Rudy Gobert. I was there when Terrence Mann went for 40 on him by sitting in the corner. You know what I mean? Rudy Gobert, outside of guarding 15 feet from the basket, he can't guard anybody past 15 feet. He can't slide laterally, and to be fair, on the team that he currently plays for, he doesn't need to. He's got two outstanding perimeter defenders, and he doesn't have to do as much. I just look at Victor, and what can't he do on defense? If he gets blown by, it doesn't matter. He'll block the shot anyway. You know what I mean? He's a lot more active. He's a lot more athletic. He has a higher defensive rating. He has a bigger impact on his team when he actually plays. The only reason why his stats aren't better is because he only plays 25 minutes a game. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Rudy's going to win the award, and he's deserving of it if you don't have Victor Wembanyama in the picture. But with Victor being in the picture, it shouldn't be this complicated to give it to the best defensive player on the planet. I don't get it,
I also do think, though, because it's a good point that Adrian Wojnarowski has brought up before, that this Defensive Player of the Year award going forward in the future might be going for a dominant run that even voter fatigue can't fight against in terms of Victor winning this award going forward. Because let's be honest, if the Spurs are any type of competent next year and Victor's healthy, this award becomes his. And, we have guys like Rudy probably going to win a fourth. Dwight Howard won. I think Dwight Howard won 4 as well.
There's 3 or 4. I believe it was
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all in a row, and Victor Wembanyama may get that within his first 5 years in the NBA, and it might just be a stretch that doesn't stop, where they might have to rename the award off of him, like to the Victor Wembanyama Defensive Player of the Year award. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised about that. So honestly, if anything, it might be like the inverse of a voter fatigue situation. Kind of like you said, where everyone is like, okay, look, we see what's happening. We know he's great now. We're going to hold off just a little bit until everyone gets sick of seeing this guy win the award.
I just hate how narratives play such a huge role in winning awards. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with MVP. You never just give it to the best player. There's always got to be some sort of, let's give it to this guy because he's doing something cool.
Yeah.
We're punishing players for being consistently great. Right? LeBron never won a DPOY when he probably should have won a couple in Miami. Big reason why that is because, he's just going to win the MVP. Let's give it to Marc Gasol. You know what I mean?
Well, what was it? Someone won it. It was either Marc Gasol or Tyson Chandler won it while being on second team all defense, which was kind of funny.
Marc Gasol was on third team or second team all defense. And just I hate the award narratives that have to go on especially in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NFL is starting to kind of go that route. But the NBA has been riddled with narrative MVPs, narrative DPOYs, rather than who actually deserves it because they're the best at what they do.
It's funny, too, because when you bring up that Wemby should be Defensive Player of the Year, it's extremely hard to argue against, because by definition of what a Defensive Player of the Year should be and what they are, he matches all of those things. And Rudy also matches all of those things. But all of Wemby's numbers and impact are theoretically better and greater than Rudy's. So it's not even to like take away from Rudy in a way. It's like, because like you said, like we've been used to seeing this from him. We kind of have an idea of what he is, but Victor's just been a step above that. Like we've
Yeah.
been talking about how he's a better prospect than anyone else who's ever come into the NBA, like except for maybe LeBron. And he's hitting those expectations right now. And we can't really be surprised that he's matching those, to be honest.
Well, he is. It's not even like a close statistical barrier,
Yeah.
right? It's 3.5 compared to 2 blocks a game. Victor's almost blocking shots. He's blocking 50% more shots than Rudy Gobert is.
Mm-hmm.
He's stealing the ball twice as often, right? And he has a better defensive rating, right? It's not like they're close, statistically speaking. Victor is
Mm-hmm.
significantly better. The only thing with Victor is they're trying to lose. Like you said, that's really the only thing. Other than that, if they were at all close to a playoff spot, a play-in, if they were 10th in the West, this would be his award. It's just the mere fact that they're tanking. For how long will they
Yeah,
be doing that? Hopefully never again. Because
just this year.
I just want to see this guy in a playoff series.
Yeah, the Spurs have to take him out of games in order to lose because sometimes he's going to lead them to a win when they're not ready for that yet. Because they're going to have, I think, at least their own pick this year, but I think they might have Toronto's pick as long as it's either top 5 or top 6 protected. So they have a chance to have 2 top 10 picks in this year's draft. Take advantage of that now and then build your team after this year. You don't have to try to lose again for a minute. So, I mean, that would be a benefit to them. The only thing I saw from Victor this year that looked bad defensively was when Joel dropped 70 on him. But to be fair, it is Joel, and he would probably do that to anyone else.
Whatever,
yeah, I mean, it happens to everyone. All the best players get scored on at some point, right?
Are we gonna say Drew Holiday is not a good defender because Jimmy Butler torched him in the playoffs?
Well, exactly. I mean, Jokic has gone off against Gobert a couple of times.
Gobert plenty of times. Every time.
And it's not like, and we're not going to say like how many guys would realistically guard Jokic better than Gobert. There's not many.
Nobody.
So
nobody's going to guard.
So it's like,
and Embiid's one of those dudes that you don't guard. You know what I mean? You just can't. You got to bring 2 guys. Jokic, same thing.
Yeah, just make them pass if you don't want them to score.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think Wemby has a fantastic argument, and it's so hard to argue against. He's not going to win it this year.
No,
but
he's not going to.
I think he might get second team all defense just because his numbers are so good. So at least I think he will still get recognized, which he should.
Yeah.
But,
is there really anyone else in this conversation?
The thing is, no, not really. I mean, you're not going to give it to Draymond. You're probably not going to give it to Bam. So it's like, even the people behind Rudy, there's kind of a gap there too this year. So, I mean, Victor is kind of in the conversation ahead of these guys who've won the award before, who've been on all defensive teams just as a 20-year-old rookie. So
it just sucks because Victor Wembanyama is having one of the best defensive seasons of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just not going to award that because, one, he's going to win it in the future. So why do we have to give it to him now? And 2, he's a rookie, and 3, his team's actively trying to tank.
Yep.
That none of those things are in his control. You know what I mean? But what is in his control, he is performing exceptionally well. And it's like going to an employee and saying, you know what? It's just not your time for the promotion. I know you're the best at what you do, but this other guy, he's got a better team around him, and
his department makes more money. His
department's making a little bit more money than yours. I'm sorry that your department sucks, and you're actually better than the other guy. But we're going to give the promotion to the dude that's been there longer, even though you're better than the guy that you're competing against. Yeah, how would you feel?
That's a good analogy.
Basically said you're too young to get the promotion, even though you're the best at what you do.
Oh, exactly. You'd be pissed. You'd be
quit
so mad.
And go start your own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You already know how good you are, so you don't need. You don't need to be held back by anyone else. But
So
hey,
that,
and you
yeah,
think if he's having a historic defensive year this year, oh, just wait. Just wait till next year, man. Even just next year, it's just
wait
going
till
to
he
look
starts
even
playing 35
better.
minutes a game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then at that point, the Spurs, no matter who else they have on their team, they're going to be good at defense because he's playing 10 more minutes a game than he was before. So they're going to be winning more. Their defense, their numbers just as a whole are going to look better. So, you know, he might not win this year, but the dominance is coming and it's already started, especially the second half of the season. So,
Yeah. Definitely living up to the hype.